My 22 brother 27 is currently engaged to his fiancée 25. He bought a new phone for Valentine's and asked my boyfriend, who's trained in computer and software, to install a hidden tracking app on the phone so his fiancée won't see it or notice. I overheard them talking, and when I entered the room they went silent. I waited till my brother left, then talked to my boyfriend. He denied having this conversation with my brother first, then admitted to installing the app on the phone. I told him he and my brother were in the wrong because this is huge breach of privacy. He said he has nothing to do with it and advised me to stay out of it as well. But I said I want to tell my brother's fiancée. My boyfriend argued with me about being nosy and intrusive and told me to stay out of it and let them deal with their own issues. But I thought that was unfair to my future sister-in-law, since she's the one working, paying bills and rent, and this is how she is treated? My boyfriend told me GTFO with this attitude, and again said I should stay of it because it does not in any way concern me. I don't know, I feel horrible after hearing about what my brother did, and since I have a good relationship with his fiancée, I can't help but feel guilty and wanting to tell her. Am I the idiot for wanting to tell her? Oh hell no. Not the idiot. They are colluding to violate her privacy, to control her like she is a child or property. Also, you should have someone check your phone for apps like this, because your boyfriend is comfortable spying on women. Tell her immediately, because this is violating her rights as a human being. From an ethical point of view, just ask yourself how you would feel if someone knew about this being done to you, and didn't tell you. Not the idiot. If the tables were flipped, you'd want her to tell you, right? Let your answer be based on that. And your BF has now thrown up red flags, and that he's trying to control how you react to all of this. Maybe when your BF started having opinions on what you should do in this situation, you should have told him to get the hell out with this attitude, and that you should stay out of it because it doesn't in any way concern you. And you may want to have your phone checked by someone who knows what they're doing to see if your BF is engaging in similar behavior with your phone. Maybe he's worried you'll hear something from your own brother about your phone if your FSIL finds out about what happened on hers. What your brother and BF are doing is wrong on so many levels, and your BF's reaction to you indicates that he knows it. Notice how he tried to turn things around to make you the villain, saying that you are being nosy and such. The question you need to ask yourself is, if the situation were reversed, would you want someone to tell you? Also, I have to agree with some of the other posters here. Considering how your BF feels he is doing nothing wrong, you need to get your own phone checked as soon as possible. And, if you find that he installed something without your permission, you need to contact a lawyer. My husband was told 3 months ago that his father, who he was estranged from, and his father's wife, had passed away in an accident, and he had been listed as the person to become guardian to their 2 young children. My husband had no idea his father had done this. He never actually met those children. He was estranged from his father by the time the older of the 2 was born, though he did know the older child existed. My husband told the person who called that he was not willing to become their guardian. The person understood, and what ended up happening is my husband's aunt took the kids. This is his father's sister. She wants my husband to take them still. She has reached out countless times to convince him to meet the kids and form a relationship and see if he could build up to wanting them. He has no interest in this. After my husband blocked her and stopped responding completely, she decided to show up at the house while I was working. She told me we needed to talk and proceeded to tell me I could decide we are taking them and I could be the person to make the first step. She told me they were just as much my responsibility as my eels, as they are my husband's, and that they are children who are orphaned and don't need the family history being the reason they never know their brother. The family history is my husband's mother died when he was 17. His father was having an affair while she was sick. The affair partner became his wife. My husband never forgave him and left before he turned 18 and before their oldest child could be born. I told the aunt I had no responsibility to raise the kids, that I was not going to raise them if my husband wasn't interested. I told her if she doesn't want them she should say so, but she should not try to force them into a home where they are unwanted and unloved. I told her it's tragic for the kids, but they are not my children. She called me heartless and told me that as a woman I should be ashamed to be married to someone who would discard flesh and blood children over the actions of adults. I made her leave. I had to then block her on my work phone because she attempted to reach me there to tell me once again that I am this bad person. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The dad was an idiot for doing this and not even having a discussion, via lawyers, with your son. What an awful man. The aunt is no better, and you should never be forced into caring for children, as it doesn't work. OP, you are not an idiot, because I think if your husband would want them, you would support them. It is also his right to choose to not want these children. Yes, I feel for them, they are innocent in all of this, but going to a home, to a person who doesn't want them, is not good for anyone. Not the idiot. You should have repeated everything she said back to her. Why is she harassing you? These kids are not your flesh and blood, but it's hers. Sad that the kids got orphaned, but you are making the right choice. You do not want these kids, and they come with a whole lot of painful memories for your husband. It will be very difficult for you guys to create a nurturing environment for them when you know that you do not want them. It might create more trauma, as well as they're bound to realize that one way or the other. Not the idiot. Restraining order or some other appropriate legal action. Your life isn't in jeopardy, so I don't think you qualify for a restraining order. Maybe contact the agency and say you're concerned for the kid's welfare, since she is so adamantly trying to get rid of the responsibility she chose. There are a lot of loving people who would love to adopt the kids today instead of 5 years from now, when her bitterness from the situation has scarred them psychologically. I have 2 daughters, Chloe, 23, and Lorna, 19. My husband and I are fortunate enough to own 2 properties. We own our primary home, where we live in our rural hometown, and a small 2-bedroom apartment in the city that's around a 3-hour drive away. We purchased the apartment around 5 years ago with the original intention of using it to have spontaneous weekends away. However, 2 years ago, Chloe got accepted into a university that was in that city. We decided to let Chloe stay in the apartment, and we'd pay all the utilities. Chloe is still staying in the apartment and has another 2 years left of her degree. This year, Lorna got accepted into the same university, and she asked us if she could stay in the apartment with Chloe. We didn't see why not, and informed Chloe that her sister was going to be joining her. Chloe was really angry and said that we should have asked her if it was okay, and said that she needs her own space. We reminded Chloe that they'll be able to have their own bedrooms, and that it's only a temporary arrangement until she graduates and finds a job. Chloe told us that's not the point. She said that she already uses the spare bedroom as her study room, and that she doesn't want to live with Lorna. She said that Lorna is annoying and that she likes living on her own. My husband reminded Chloe that she's staying in the apartment for free, and that Lorna has just as much right to be there as she does, and that they can figure out on their own how to not get on each other's nerves. Lorna moved in at the start of the semester around 2 months ago. At first it seemed to be going well. I regularly check up on both Chloe and Lorna, and they didn't mention any problems. Last week, Chloe called me and demanded that I kick Lorna out. She said that she can't stand living with Lorna anymore and that she needs to have her own place. I asked Chloe what's going on, and she described very petty problems such as Lorna's room being messy, not having a study room, not being able to play the TV on loud at night, etc. I told Chloe that that's the reality of living with other people, and that she needs to learn how to compromise, and that we aren't kicking Lorna out. Chloe protested and said that she was living there first, and implied that Lorna should live in dorms because she's younger. She kept talking over me and shouting into the phone when I was trying to explain that would be unreasonable. I eventually lost my temper and told Chloe if she doesn't like it, she can move out and pay rent and bills elsewhere. Chloe started crying and said that I should be more understanding, then hung up the phone. My husband thinks that Chloe is just acting like a brat and that we shouldn't entertain it, and that my response was fine. But Chloe has been ignoring my texts and calls and is clearly upset by my comments, so I'm wondering if I was wrong. Not the idiot. Occupying solo a 2-bedroom apartment as an undergraduate is a rare luxury. Your daughter, however, seems to think she's entitled to it. You rightly set her straight and don't second-guess yourself on this. You should remind her that this apartment was never intended specifically as her domicile. It was to be you and your husband's pied-à-terre, an opportunity you have deferred in favor of allocating a family resource to whom it is of the most use. She obviously thinks you can afford separate housing for her sister, so she is not only trying to claim the apartment as hers, she is trying to manipulate how you and your husband spend your money. Not the idiot. She is having a spoiled moment. I would have loved to have that set up in college. Would have lived with my annoying younger brothers, lol. Free place is free. So yeah, absolutely not. I'd call the youngest and make sure she is okay and doesn't get bullied out of the apartment. I absolutely see your oldest doing that. If that happens, I'd say go ahead and have her move out too and sell the place, because your oldest it sounds like a move she will try to push the youngest out by taking it out on her. She is a brat. She thinks she is entitled to an apartment just because she is older? And she is not grateful at all that she was living there all this time rent-free. I mean, you two gave her a perfect start in life by giving her a place for free while she can keep and save all the money for her future. I suggest visiting apartment one day when they are both home and talking to her in person. She can coexist in same apartment or she can move out. She seems like she needs some hard reality how the world really is. A few years ago I was going away to a conference, so I asked my sister if she could watch my dogs while I was away. She said she would do it if I paid her. So I hired a service instead. Yes, I could have paid her, but it would have required me to go pick up her unemployed butt from my parents' house and let her stay at my house eating my food and drinking my booze. The service came in, fed and walked my dogs. When I moved out of our parents' home, my friends all helped me out. But not her, she was busy doing school work. But that she would take a break if I paid for her time. She was watching TV. When she moved in with her boyfriend, now husband, I helped her out. She never even bought pizza and beer. She is an amateur photographer, but pretty great to be honest. When I got married, it was a small thing in my parents' backyard. To save money, I did everything with friends and family. My aunt lent me her wedding dress and one of my friends made the cake. Everyone pitched in to decorate and set up and clean up. I asked if she could take the wedding pictures. She said only if I paid. So I got a bunch of disposable cameras and used those for the candid shots and paid a photographer for the ceremony and formals only. I now make enough money that I can afford to make my life easier by just paying for whatever I need. And this is what I do now for most stuff. I still do favors for friends and they often return them. My sister, who wanted to get paid to sit in my house and watch TV so my dogs were okay, ended up with a nice guy and getting married. She called me last week and asked if I could watch her kids so they could go on vacation. Her husband's parents got sick and ours moved to Florida. So I said I would if she paid me. She can afford it. But now it's all about how family helps each other out. I reminded her of all the times I asked her for help and she said I was being petty and vindictive. She tried getting my parents on her side, but they told her that she had set the ground rules for our relationship. Now she is on social media trying to get her friends to make me feel guilty about not helping family. I probably should not have responded, but I did, saying that her friends were also available to help her out for free. But I guess she burned a few bridges there too, and some of them called her out for always wanting to be paid for a favor. It's become a huge mess. Not the idiot. And it also sounds like you have dealt with this beautifully throughout the relationship. You asked favors, she asked for cash, and you decided that the cash could buy better services elsewhere, pet sitting and photography, or that she wasn't needed. Moving. You still helped with moving, but very reasonably won't help with long-term babysitting. All of your requests were perfectly reasonable as favors between close friends and family. Glad to hear that neither your parents or her friends are interested in helping her out. Not the idiot. Your sister is an idiot. I always wonder why people like her run to everyone to gang up and bully the person they want something from and expect that to work. If anything, it would make me even more unwilling to help. This reminds me of my best friend's sister. Won't lift a finger for my best friend but demands the world of her. She's finally blocked her because of years and years of horrible treatment. Not the idiot. It's a mess for her, not you. Don't back down now. You see that your parents and her friends are agreeing with you. She hasn't helped you for free even once. If you end up babysitting for her, make sure she pays you in advance. Your parents are right, she has set up this dynamic. Fighting with someone on social media never solves the problem and is even more reason now to say no. You'll not babysit at all even if she pays you. I, 24, have a girlfriend, Hannah, 26. We were friends in college and reconnected and have been dating for around 7 months. A few days ago, it was my cousin's wedding and everyone was allowed a +1, including myself. I asked Hannah in advance if she wanted to go with me and she agreed. She's a huge social butterfly and loves big events. The venue is around a 2-hour drive from my home, so I made it clear to Hannah that we need to leave in plenty of time to not be late. The ceremony started at 2 p.m., so I said we should aim to leave a little after 11 a.m. to allow for traffic and stop on the way if we need to. Hannah is super into makeup and hair, and she was taking a very long time to get ready. When 10:30 a.m. rolled around, I gently reminded Hannah that we need to leave soon in order to get there on time. She told me she was nearly done and not to worry. 10:50 a.m. rolls around and Hannah doesn't look anywhere near ready. I told her that we really need to leave soon and reminded her of what time it is. Hannah told me to chill and that she's nearly ready. Once it reached 11 a.m., Hannah still wasn't ready. I told her that we need to leave ASAP. Hannah told me to calm down and that she's nearly ready. She wasn't even dressed yet. I started getting panicky and told Hannah to please hurry up. Hannah got mad and said that she's told me she's nearly ready. By the time it was 11:20 a.m., Hannah still wasn't ready. I got really annoyed and told Hannah if she's not ready in 10 minutes, I'm leaving without her. I don't think she believed me, she just laughed and told me I'm being silly. I ended up leaving without her because by 11:30 she was still in her PJs. I managed to get to the wedding on time and it was great. After the ceremony, I noticed that Hannah had been blowing up my phone. I called her back and she immediately started screaming at me and said that I'm obsessed with being ridiculously early to things and said that I need to be more understanding and that if I waited 5 minutes she would have been ready. She said I'm a selfish jerk and need to evaluate my priorities. I wasn't able to get any word in before Hannah hung up the phone. Since then, Hannah has been ignoring me and I'm wondering if I was in the wrong. Not the idiot. You wanted to get to the ceremony on time and advised Hannah of the time to leave and gave numerous time updates and warnings. She knew and chose to not be ready at the designated time or anything near it. You had a choice, either leave and be on time or wait for her and arrive whenever. Either she is a control freak or has a time management problem and is chronically late. Consider this a warning by her. Do you want to deal with this time issue, and her juvenile response to being left, going forward? Definitely not the idiot. Good time management is a skill all adults need to learn. I dated a guy who was always late because he had to do his hair a certain way and let it air dry with the gel, etc. Finally said don't care, start getting ready earlier if you know you're going to take a long time. Obviously that relationship didn't work out in the long run because timeliness matters to me and it's disrespectful to be late when others are relying on you. That whole set of behaviors is going to cause other issues later on, because the bottom line is she doesn't respect your time, only her own. Not the idiot at all. She is incredibly self-centered and you did the right thing by not being late. She knew what time to be ready and assumed you would wait. I seriously doubt this is the first time that she expected you to wait, and you probably have waited in the past and that's why she thought you would again. I cannot stand people who are usually late and make other people wait for them. It's rude and completely selfish.